Taken. The night. Later that night, Lance sits in his apartment while staring at the chest piece of his suit, which is sitting on the coffee table in front of him. Red and black? No. The classic orange and teal? Probably not. Brown and white? No. Lance says to himself. Suddenly, Lance hears his ringtone and looks at the caller ID. Mom, he says. He swipes on the green button. Hello? Lance says. Son, I can't reach Anna. Lance face palms and sighs. What happened? Lance asks. Her and your dad had an argument. She stormed out. I went to look for her, but it isn't safe to be out on the street at this hour, Lacey says. Lance tiredly gets off his couch and grabs his car keys. The engine of a blue 2021 Toyota Corolla is heard amongst the noise of New York City. Lance stops at a red light and attempts to call Anna, and her phone answers on the third ring. Hello? Anna says calmly. Anna, where are you? Mom's worried. You need to go back home. Lance says. You know, Dad acted like he understood. Then he just flipped on me. I told him that I don't like the fact that we're moving. Then he says he doesn't care and that I better get ready. Anna says angrily. Lance sighs and tries to relate to Anna, but can't. I'm gonna come get you. Tell me where you are. Lance says as the light turns green and Lance drives off. Okay, I'm at... Oh, no. Anna says shakily. Anna, what's wrong? Lance asks panicked. Anna, he yells. Suddenly, he hears Anna running and what sounds to be an engine getting louder in the background. Lance drives around the corner and peeks into the alleyway as he drives by. Anna, talk to me. What's happening? Lance says urgently. Someone in a black van is chasing me, Anna says on the verge of tears. Where are you? Lance yells. Anna doesn't answer, but he hears a loud crash sound before hearing her phone drop onto the ground. Anna falls onto the ground and tries to get back up, but her leg is broken suddenly and she feels his arms around her and gets thrown to the back of the van. Lance hears tires squeaking before seeing a black van drive from out of an alleyway behind him. Lance looks up at his rearview mirror before turning around and giving chase to the van. The van tears through the streets and nearly misses multiple civilians. Lance keeps up with the van before he sees someone stick a gun out of the passenger side window of the van. He ducks down but continues to drive as fast as he can to keep up with the van. The gunman in the van starts firing and the bullets hit Lance's windshield. Dang it, he says to himself. Lance suddenly thinks quickly and sits up again. He shoots 6 webs at the speeding van and attaches it to the hood of his car. Lance then presses down on the brake pedal and aggressively shifts his car into reverse gear and starts reversing against the van, causing links from the pedestrians and other drivers. The van starts getting pulled backwards and Lance shifts again. The van suddenly starts reversing and Lance's eyes widen before the van crashes into the front of Lance's car. The airbag flies out and hits Lance in the face, knocking him out. Lacey angrily sits up and Alex asks where she's going. I'm gonna go find her daughter, Alex, she yells. Lance is gonna find her. We don't need to worry. The armored Arachnid has it under control. Alex yells before getting a call from his phone. Hello, he says. Is this Alex Davidson? He hears a voice say. This is he. Who is this? He answers while looking Lacey in the eye. This is Dr. Alexander of Lenox Hill Hospital. We have your son. Dr. Alexander says coldly. My son? Alex asks softly. Yes, he was picked up a few hours ago. He's in stable condition, but he has a broken rib. Alex's mouth is agape and he looks at Lacey. What's wrong? Lacey asks. Lance tries to sit up but grabs his stomach in pain. He sees the morning sun shine through the window. Anna. Where is Anna? Lance yells worriedly. A nurse rushes to his side. Mr. Davidson, who is Anna? The nurse asks. Lance looks at the nurse and squints. My sister, she's not here. Where is she? Lance asks in a panic. Oh my gosh, Lance, Kate says as she rushes to Lance's bedside. What happened? Kate asks worriedly. I don't know. I remember seeing a van, Lance begins to say, reversing toward me, and then I ended up here, he finishes. Kate shakes her head and hugs Lance. Ow, he says. What's wrong? Kate asks. I have a broken rib, Lance says. Kate frowns and pushes a strand of hair from her face. What can I do to help? Kate asks. Lance looks over at Kate. Take my apartment key, go inside, grab my suit off my coffee table, and then leave it in the alleyway near the police station. Lance says. Anything else? Kate asks. Lance while raising her eyebrow. Tell them you're my cousin and check me out of here, Lance says. Kate puts her hand on Lance's shoulder. Lance, you have a broken rib. You need to relax. Let Spider-Man handle it, Kate says softly while looking Lance in the eye. Kate, Spider-Man doesn't even know Anna is gone, Lance says in protest. Kate sighs and looks down. Okay, Lance, I'll do it. But if you need me out there with you, you better call me. Kate says before walking out of the room. The search. Lance goes walking into his apartment with Kate by his side. Lance, are you sure you're going to be okay? Kate asks worriedly. I'm going to be fine, Kate. Lance says, trailing off. Kate sits Lance on the couch and sits down beside him. I did what you needed me to do. Your suit is waiting for you where you told me to put it. Lance smiles. Thanks, Kate, he says. Kate nods and explains to Lance that she also took the liberty in looking for Lance's car. I called a bunch of tow truck companies. One of them has the car, and it can be repaired. But the guy said if the van had hit you with a little more force, your car would have been totaled. Kate says. Lance sighs in relief, and Lance walks into the alleyway and grabs his suit from inside a random box. He puts it on, and the mask goes over his face. He shoots a web at a roof and swings out of the alleyway. Lance realizes that if Anna left her phone behind, then it could be used to find her. He swings around a corner, and he finally makes it to the alleyway. He looks around for a phone and sees it lying near a trash can. The screen is cracked, but the phone still works. Lance knows what he has to do. The armored Arachnid walked into the police station, and the chief sees him holding the phone. Hey, what's that in your hand? The chief asks sternly. Lance looks at him. We have a missing person in our hands. This phone belongs to a 13-year-old girl named Anna Davidson. Lance says while handing the chief the phone. I'll get a forensics team and the best detectives on it. The chief says while walking toward the forensics lab. I'll give this to the forensic team, the suit for DNA, and they related the info to the detectives. The chief says. Lance nods and walks alongside the chief. Lance puts his arm on the chief's shoulder, and the chief turns around and looks at him as if to ask what's wrong. Lance checks his helmet, and the chief's eyes widen at the fact that the armored Arachnid just revealed his identity to him. I am Lance Davidson, and Anna is my little sister. Lance says while looking the chief in the eye. The chief looks at Lance and nods. Then let's get out there and find her, the chief says. Lance swings past the old Avengers Tower and lands on a roof before jumping off into a front flip. He struggles to remember the night before, hoping that somehow he can remember the license plate of the van that took Anna. He strains for a second, sees the first three characters on the plate flash in his mind. KSG, he says to himself. He stops swinging and approaches onto the side of an apartment building. 201, he says while closing his eyes. 8, he says before opening his eyes. He jumps off the building and swings off. Chief, I got the license plate number. Run a search on KSG 2018. Lance says sternly while he swings down the street. Copy that. I have an officer running through the database as soon as he's finished. I'll send you the location. You should come back to the station. I have someone that could help you out. The chief says. Lance nods. Affirmative, on my way. Lance suddenly gets cut off when he hears the scanner. We've got a robbery near McCarran Park. Hostiles heavily armed. Any available units to this location. Lance reroutes and runs alongside a building before web zipping onto it. He then jumps off and heads toward McCarran. Lance swings in and lands on the ground near the robbery situation. He sees three cars blocking a bus and realizes that this is a bus robbery. Lance thinks quickly and swings through the front window of the bus, knocking a robber to his feet. Hey there, how you doing? Lance says. Lance pulls another robber close to him before delivering a fisted backhand and going into a web sweep. The robber falls to the ground and Lance shoots a web at a robber. That'll dissolve in an hour, don't worry, Lance says to the robber he webbed up. His suit senses danger and Lance shifts his body out of the way before quick drawing his left hand his stun gun and shooting the robber in the leg. The robber says in pain. Yeah, just lay there, Lance says. He suddenly looks over and finally notices the civilians that were watching the fight. He sees a kid that looks no more than 6 years old. Lance's eyes dart back and forth at the kid's eyes, and he can tell how the kid is feeling at that moment. I guess you're pretty psyched at the fact that you just watched an armored Arachnid take down some bad guys, huh? The kid nods her head, and Lance smiles under the mask before reaching his fist out for a fist bump. The girl reaches her hand out and bumps the armored Arachnid's fist and laughs. Lance stands back up and turns to leave out the bus. Let's see what surprise the chief has.